It's Friday, September the 13th. I'm Adam Walsh. Welcome to a live, on location, special edition of The Signal at LSPU Hall in St. John's. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Woo! We're going to make some noise in this big room we're in. We've got a lot of talented folks to talk to here today. I'm glad you're tuning in for a fantastic Friday show. We're talking all about the 9th Annual St. John's Short Play Festival. So we're talking celebration of arts, diversity, community, lots of talented folks to meet and talk to. So let's get started. We're bringing a friend of the show, Bruna Cardoso. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm glad to know that you consider me a friend.
Well, you keep contacting me. So
yes. Oops.
It's like I love when I do get an email or call. So tell me, you sent me a note. It was a while ago. It was during the summer.
Yeah.
And tell me what the request was, and it can help set the stage for what we're talking about today.
Yeah, it was like, hey, Adam, I have another amazing arts project going on here, and I would love you to come cover the work for the St. John's Short Festival.
How do you get, because you do a bunch of different things, right?
Yeah.
So how do you get involved with something like the St. John's Shorts Festival?
I think there's something in the water in St. John's, and I just get to have so many friends that are in the art scene here, and things just happen.
Yeah. So you're involved with it. You start doing some promotions around it. You're talking to media. You're talking to folks like me. I know you've also done you had hooked folks up with some of the other CBC real estate and shows, right?
Yep.
What are your thoughts then as you get involved with this type of a festival? Once it starts, what's that like for you?
It is exciting. Yeah. I also love to see how people in St. John's get together to make these arts events happening. Yeah. I also have my own events for arts, for music, for dance, and it is amazing how this works here.
Yeah, no, it's pretty neat, and I always find the folks we have today, even the ones who've not been on the show before, I find it neat because they'll be like, oh wait, Sandra Mills from Shakespeare by the Sea. I'm like, yeah, Sandra was on the show last week, and Tim Walsh from gardening, of course. Well, his spouse is also involved with the play, and there's all these really cool local connections, and you get the feel for just how much theatric talent and passion there is for the arts in this case in around St. John's, but it's true right across Newfoundland and Labrador.
Yeah, that is amazing. When you think, well, I want to put together a festival like we are doing right now, and then you have, I know someone that can do the public relations. Yeah. Like me. Yeah. And then the artistic director, I also know an amazing person to do the sound, and the LSPU Hall, they have an amazing staff too. So everything gets together so well, so nicely, it's magic.
Amazing. All right, so let's bring in the festival's artistic director. Yes. So who are we going to talk to?
We are going to talk to Anna Pital.
All right, Anna, come on down.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. Excellent. I'm tired. I cannot lie because it's the second week of the festival, so I'm having sleeping with all those plays in my head since April,
Since April, and we're now into the second week of the festival.
Yeah.
How was week one?
It was great. We had a really good attendance, so I'm always happy that we could bring so many people to watch the show. Mm. It is a really big effort for the artists, from my staff. Bruna helped us with an amazing job, with marketing and public relations.
She's very persistent.
Yeah. I hope this is a compliment.
Oh my gosh, it is a very big compliment. This is why we're here, because Bruna got in touch, and I was like, of course I would love to do this. So this is great. Tell folks then, give folks, I know I said it in the intro a bit, and Bruna was saying it a bit, but give a description. So this is the 9th year for this festival, but give a description of what it is and what people who perhaps are living outside of the metro area who can't come in to see it, so for them to get an understanding. And also, if folks are in and around St. John's thinking, ooh, whole second week to come check this out, give folks a good idea of what they can see and what this is about.
Yeah, St. John's Shorts is an opportunity for everyone who likes to make theater. Like, you don't need to be a professional artist. Like, we have a lot of professional artists here. We have a lot of people that come for fun to do a show with their friends and like start to work professionally after they have an experience here. So we have a little bit of everything. It's sometimes it's difficult to make the programming because we have so many different things in the same night. So we have musicals, we have drama, we had like a whole night of sketch comedy.
So puppets?
Yeah,
puppets
we have
on this
puppets.
show. Puppets
we
on
have
the radio.
Puppets, so
again.
bring your kiddos to watch this amazing show, like Franken Puppet. So there is a little bit of everything for everyone, and it's always exciting to see like how many talented artists we have, like both like professional and non-professional, like how this city, how this community, like it's like Bruna told, like there's something in the water, I think, here. Like
I'm curious about you as well, right? So whenever I do these types of shows, I love talking about, if it's, no matter what it is, right? So next week on the show, for example, it's Climate Change Week, and we'll talk about we'll talk about those big issues. But then I will still ask people about who they are, their backstory, why they are where they are. So for this, you studied history.
Yeah.
And you did a master's in it.
Yeah.
And but now you're here doing this. So
Yeah.
Can you connect those dots for me?
Yeah, actually, I think I always liked to do theater, but unfortunately I came from a country where like being an artist is something like very, very difficult. So usually you are like, people don't encourage you to take this direction.
So we're talking in Brazil.
Yeah, in Brazil. And I really like history, and I really like to teach public speaking and all of this. So I started work as a as a teacher, sorry. But I always had like my foot some way in theater, because like I used to be a teacher for kids, and history can be really boring if you are not like, if you don't engage the students and all of this. So I was always trying to find like creative ways to, so I think I always work like a storyteller in some way, even as a teacher. And when I come here, I was like, it was right after pandemic, everyone got lost, I think. And like for me, I came here because my husband came to do a master's at Man, and I came like, I was pregnant. I didn't speak English at that time. And I was like, I don't know how, like what I will do, like with what I will work, because like I need to learn the language, but I need like to have a baby first. And like in some point, I start to make some connections with some amazing people that we have here. Like I had really good mentors, like Santiago Guzman was one of them.
Friend of the show, Santiago's fantastic.
Yeah, Ruth Lawrence.
Ruth too.
Megan Greeley. And like once I start to work with them, I realized that I had skills to be like a production manager, like to work as an arts administrator. Yeah. And I think there is a lack, there is a gap here. Like we don't have many people that only do production management or things like this. Usually the artist needs to do everything. Yeah. So once I start to work, like it was a project after the other. And like last year I was assistant producer for shorts, and when they opened the space to bring a director, I was like, yeah, I really want to be part of this festival.
So wait, what year did you move here?
I moved here in 2020.
So 2021.
Yeah, September
So
2021.
you've had a baby,
Yeah.
learned English,
Yeah.
and you've worked your way up to becoming the festival's artistic director here. That's pretty good.
Yeah, and you need you need to add something like we only get a spot for Isabel at the daycare when she completed 2 years. So most of time
and you're waiting, and because of like some of the childcare issues that we've done previous shows
Yeah,
on, you're dealing with that as well.
Yeah, I really need to raise this point because it was like very hard to manage.
Yeah. So, and before we go to the next guest, on that childcare point, right? What difference was it? Like you said, hard to manage. The difference from not having childcare to finally getting that space. What did that allow you to do professionally and personally?
Wow, a lot. And if you think like we have a lot of people coming here as students and they bring their family, and like if you are a student you cannot work more than 20 or 24 hours.
Yeah.
So the other, like your partner needs to work, but if you have a baby, like how you manage all of this. So once we get a spot, like we could start to really work like 8 hours a day, which allowed me like to be here.
Yeah, to contribute to an arts festival,
Yeah.
right? To be the artistic director and to
Yeah.
do everything else that you mentioned. Also to have community and to meet friends and colleagues and to have professional growth
like,
and development.
Feel part of the community.
Okay. So I just wanted to underscore the childcare part of the conversation because it was so important. And
Yeah, it is.
And it's so great to see you here doing this. We're going to talk again before the end of the show.
Okay.
We're going to bring some, we've got some people to cycle through. Who's next on our list here? I think it might be, hello, come on down. Come on up, I'll get you to introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Tendai Mudunge.
So Tendai?
Yes.
We've been talking, I was just saying, to Anna there, I like talking about backstories for folks. You studied at Memorial University. Now we're at an arts thing, but you're an engineer?
Yes, so I did civil engineering at MAN.
Okay.
But I always played sports before. But I think where I'm left-handed, I always had that creative mentality from before.
Yeah.
So I always felt like there was something missing when I'm not using that part of my personality.
Yeah.
And initially I studied through dance. And then one thing led to each other with a smaller community, different projects. And so I started dancing in 2016. And now in 2024, I'm directing a play and also part of the play for the festival.
So you're part of a play, directing a play for a festival, but you started dancing in 2016. When did you discover this was such a passion for you?
So I'm guessing it was always in there because I'm born in Zimbabwe. So arts, dancing, it's a big part of everything we do. So you go to a wedding, you meet your friends, you have downtime, you walk in the street, you see kids dancing, kids playing.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing I was always in that environment.
Yeah.
But I never really practiced.
Yeah.
But by just being passively in that environment, that skill is just in there.
Yeah, it's just so it's kind of baked in, hey?
Yes.
So in studying at MUN, engineering, what kind of dancing really what were you drawn to? What types of dance do you like?
So initially it was Latin dance.
Okay.
So I got to travel through Canada as part of the internships. Was studying at Memorial.
Yeah.
So I didn't really have many things to do. I didn't know many people to do.
Yeah.
So initially the Latin dance, there's a community aspect of it. So it's a bit easier to meet people. You're in that shared environment.
Yeah.
So I just started liking it from there. And then I slowly started developing my skills. But when I came here, there wasn't a big Latin scene or a big dancing scene. So what I ended up doing for it to grow here, I had to start something.
Yeah.
So once I started something, did some dancing, teaching people.
Yeah.
And then other people when they do their projects. Sometimes it's not always easy to get people. It's a bit easier to attract someone who's interested doing something similar to be part of a project. So from dancing, my first introduction to theater was actually through here. One of my friends, Santiago, he was doing a
Santiago
play.
Guzman.
So he was doing his play here. And he wanted someone to do like a pre-show. So we came and did a dance for the pre-show. And then I was part of, with Tada events, so there was Kinky Boots. And then there was also the Rocky Horror Show.
Okay.
So I was sort of within the show as a dancer. But because you have to be there for the take rehearsals, you are seeing what other people are doing, you're interacting with the actors, so you're just absorbing knowledge.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing I'm always like that, I'm always absorbing knowledge. So now when this project came, and because I've sort of been around theater,
Yeah.
I can almost go back to how I saw other people doing it, or what I liked from doing those things.
What's to go from starting to dance, right? And then this theater side, on stage, there's timings. How different is that for the learning, and is it stressful?
So it's almost the complete opposite. Both coming from a dancing background, it's more spontaneous.
Yeah.
Both you're listening to the music.
You
reacting
move
to
with
the-
how you feel, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And most times when you dance, you still dance for people, but it's like within, or you might have a choreograph. But when you usually play a song or you're working with a musician, so it's sort of preset start to end. But when you come to sort of a theater setting, you have your crew, and then you have like your directors, you're working with other people. So everything has to be set a certain time. So every minute has to be accounted for, every second. You're also getting into props too.
Wow.
So just that shift in mentality to say like, we're in a theater now. So let's say for our act is 20 minutes. Those things have to be accounted for. And we need to do a take rehearsal to make sure that everyone see it. We need to practice as much as possible. So that's like a big shift.
There's a week left to the festival. So is there more performing for you, or are you finished?
So my performing is actually this Saturday and
This Saturday.
Sunday.
All right, and Sunday.
Yes.
Right here.
Yes.
At the LSPU Hall.
Yes.
And if people want to get tickets, they should check out the box office.
Yes. So our play would be, first screening would be 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
And then on Saturday, and then 2 p.m. on the Sunday.
All right. Tende, thanks so much for this.
Okay, anytime.
Nice meeting you.
Definitely.
All right, folks, you're listening to The Signal live on location at the LSPU Hall. We're going to take a little song break to see who we're going to talk to next, so don't go anywhere. And for the song break, let me see, I was looking at my list here. Music and L just had their awards, right? A music video of the year presented by College of the North Atlantic. Rosemary Lawton, Little Fires. Take a listen. I'm Adam Walsh. This is The Signal. We're live on location at LSPU Hall in St. John's, and we're talking all about the 9th Annual St. John's Short Play Festival. We're talking to the folks behind it. We're talking to some of the performers. The whole point is to paint a big picture of everyone involved in this 9th annual running of the festival. So let me see. I'm turning around. Oh, there's nothing else in front of me. Patrick, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. So Patrick Curtis, right? Patrick
Yes,
Curtis.
Curtis.
How old are you?
I'm 26 years old.
26 years old. When did you first get involved in theater?
I first got involved in theater at age 13.
Age 13, and where was this?
This was in Leo Brook Academy.
Okay. And why'd you get involved?
Well, I got involved because I was forced to. It was not in my own volition. So my mother figured that I wasn't really talking with anyone. I was just going to school, coming home, and being on my computer. She's like, she wants me to be more social, so she's like, I'm going to get you off that God-blessed computer. I'm going to get you in acting. And then I did.
So she gave you a light nudge into acting. What was the first thing you had to do as a 13-year-old?
Weirdly enough, the first play that I did was a play called Layers, which was an original play by our director, Gary Rogers, who is actually published. But it was a play within a play within a play.
Oh, cool.
So I was a writer suffering from insomnia,
Yeah.
whose creations
Yeah.
break out into free will. So I get paranoid that they are going to try to kill me, so then I try to kill them, which then they kill me.
Wow. I could see how I would be hooked on that, but for yourself, at what point of this were you like, oh yeah, no, this is my jam?
It was during rehearsals mostly. Like, that was the, I guess, awakening that I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I really enjoyed this. Like, I didn't think I was going to, because obviously, well, I was a bit forced to in the beginning, but, it just grew very well, right?
Now, it was 13 years later. Do you talk to your mom about the fact, like when she pushed you away from that
Oh
computer?
yeah, no, like she kind of rubs it in the face a little bit. Mother knows best, all that.
She must be awfully proud, though.
Oh yes, she is. Any opportunity that she can come, she does. I know that there was one. When I was in university in Cape Breton. We did a production of The Outsiders, and I was Johnny Cade.
Yeah.
And she actually traveled
Oh, wow.
to Cape Breton to see me perform, which was, obviously amazing, right?
Wow. What have you been doing with the festival now?
So the festival, I've did a one-man show called Torn Between Two Worlds. Originally, this was part of Power Productions' Tales of Us back last October. This is technically the third and fourth time I performed it. So I performed it once in Tales of Us. Then I performed it again in Halifax at the Atlantic Disability Symposium. And then I kind of wanted to do a hat trick.
Yeah.
So I performed it here. I applied to be involved in the St. John Shores Festival.
Okay.
Yeah.
What, with being involved with shorts, like what has it given you for just like the feeling of performing here, performing at the LSPU Hall with the crowd and everything else?
Well, I mean, it's great. It's given me an opportunity to, to perform my work again.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic experience.
Yeah. What's the feeling on stage when it's like, and you said one-man show, right?
Yeah.
So like, I'm assuming that could be very different than a more than one person show. So like to have that whole thing on you for a performance, just describe it a bit for me and what goes into the pressures and the thought process.
Well, with any rehearsal, it would be at a one-man show or multi-man show, I just kind of beat it into the subconscious. So you just rehearse it again and again and again and again until it basically comes as almost second nature, right?
How long, so for this one, how like, what was the rehearsal process? And I know this is you've multiple times, but that first time to get it up and running and ready for you, what did it take?
I would say it probably took like a two weeks or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long is it? Because it's a shorts, so
Yeah.
like I know there's
It's around 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
Yeah.
Around 50, so how much, 15 minutes of dialogue, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like how many pages is that to remember?
Depends on how
the
the font is.
Yeah, yeah. So like you take a couple weeks to get it into your system, and then is there a difference when you're actually up on the physical stage and like the feeling of that for practice and rehearsal?
I don't really feel it too much,
Yeah.
but it all depends, because I know that in like previous plays, especially in the Shakespeare by the Sea,
Yeah.
when we had to do all, because my one-man play has very minimal blocking,
Yeah.
but if there's excessive blocking, sometimes in some environments it can get a little bit tricky and you have to reevaluate. Because I know when we were doing Shakespeare by the Sea Festival, we did one at the Bowring Park Amphitheater. And there was one side of it that has a ramp, and
Yeah.
then there's another side that has stairs that takes me extra time to come up and down in. So we kind of had to navigate that.
Yeah, because you're a performer, you are living with cerebral palsy. The accessibility side of theater and performing, what's that like in terms of challenges?
Well, in terms of challenges, it's certainly key. I find that a lot of places are a little bit better,
Yeah.
especially if they're indoors.
Yeah.
Outdoors theater is a little bit different because it's been built 50, 60 years ago where no one ever really
no one
thought
was thinking about it. Yeah.
Obviously, if there's more physical nature, it has to be readapted. But it all depends on really the part.
I'm curious about your thoughts on the importance of visibility for folks within the disability community. For you to be on stage, for someone if anyone does know, and a lot of times obviously they won't, but if they do know, this is someone acting who's living with cerebral palsy, and what that can mean to people. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I think it's extremely important. I think there's certainly capable actors of any type of disability, and I do find it kind of strange. Now, obviously, it's not theater, but in Hollywood productions, they don't ever choose people with disabilities to play. They choose A-listers who then pretend that they have the disability, and then they,
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, they get an Academy Award. It's like, well, wait, how about like, can we not get someone?
And now, granted, obviously, in acting, that is their job.
Sure.
However, that same, I guess, thought isn't applied elsewhere. Like, if you have a character who isn't disabled, chances are in Hollywood, they're not going to cast anyone who's disabled.
Yeah.
But with disabled, disability parts, there's a good chance that they're going to hire someone without a disability as well.
Yeah.
Right? So it is important to have visibility and have people with disabilities performing, I think, for sure.
Yeah, and you were just with Shakespeare by the Sea this summer, right?
Yes.
Who were you?
I was Calamities and part of the chorus in The Winter's Tale. That was my second year.
Yeah.
Last year I did Don Petro in Much Ado About Nothing.
What do you enjoy about playing Shakespeare?
Well, there's a certain rhythm to it.
Yeah.
There's a certain challenge that you kind of have to, because it's completely different. Like we don't speak English like that anymore.
No, with
So
the
you kind
exception
of
of a scattered ye thrown in, yeah, like
Yeah.
the rest of it's different.
Yeah, so you kind of have to get, to a certain rhythm
Yeah.
in it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for this chat.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, I appreciate it. So that's Patrick Curtis there. You're listening to The Signal. We're live on location at the LSPU Hall. We're going to bring someone else in now. I believe Susan's here kicking around. Susan, give me the best introduction of yourself and who you are and everything you're involved with.
Well, I'm Susan Kelsey. I am an actor, a playwright, a stand-up comedian, a dancer, a poet. Anything you could do on stage, chances are I've done it at some point in my life. I do all the things.
Well, it's nice to finally meet you because
Yes.
you're one of these folks who, like, whenever there's like an event associated on socials or whatever, it's
Yeah.
like I'm like, oh, there's that person again. There she is again.
Yeah.
It's like you're involved in, like you said, like so much,
Yeah.
everything. So tell us about your involvement in shorts because there was the beginning and now. So let's
Yes.
start at the beginning.
So in the beginning, I was involved with the creation of the festival. So the first year, it was very grassroots. I think we were like 10 plays in 10 days for $10 tickets. We had that kind of theme going. And it was just everyone kind of, we didn't really have a ton of funding. We didn't have a ton of branding happening. It was all just kind of everyone wanting to put together this short play festival. So I was involved with kind of the organization and running the social media and doing all the events and that kind of aspect of the shorts, as well as having shows in the shorts. And then, I did that for a number of years. And then I took a bit of a hiatus from the shorts. And then I got back to the shorts in 2022. I was in Veronica Diamond's play Bad Date as an actor. And then last year I did a different show for me. It was a one-person show, and it was called Choose Your Own Adventure Comedy Edition. So if you've heard of a Choose Your Own Adventure book, it was kind of based
Grew up
on that.
it.
Yeah.
Actually, it's still the only thing I read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, the audience gets to choose their own adventure, and I present them 6 props, and each prop represents a chapter, if you will, and they get to choose. So I actually I write an hour of material for just to do
Wow.
the short show, and and then it went so well last year, and audiences really responded to it. So I was like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I did the same thing again this year, same concept, but I wrote 6 new chapters, so all new material. So it's a good writing exercise for sure.
Yeah. How long does it take to go through that writing exercise to put all that together?
It was about, I would say 4 to 6 months I was working on the material. The thing is, being a stand-up, I'm always writing new stand-up material, so a lot of things that come from my stand-up were in the show, and then also just life events. One of my chapters was based on me walking to my friend's wedding and my shoe fully just disintegrating basically on the way, and then having to walk back home barefoot holding my shoes in the middle of the day in my my kind of fancy wedding outfit. So when those things happen to you in life, you just gotta make art about them. So that's what I did. So it was fun because I got to have that actual prop on stage of the the broken shoes, be like, this is what happened, because it's nice, because in kind of traditional stand-up, I don't usually do prop work on stage, but where this is kind of the blend of stand-up and theater, I get to kind of play a little bit more, yeah.
What's the energy then you get from that, of being on stage, whether it's with this blend that's happening now or when you're doing stand-up or anything else?
Yeah, I mean, my show, especially because I engage so much with the audience, they get to vote on what chapters they choose.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's nice to have that like real engagement, and like I'm really talking to the audience, and this particular type of show is really unique because I'm not one of those like crowd work comedians, so this is kind of my time where I really engage people, and and I gave away prizes at each show. So they're very silly, like I gave away a prop every time. So one of my props was a movie poster for a movie that I'm not in, and somebody won an autographed version of that poster, and people wanted it, which is very flattering. I was like, oh, multiple people in this audience want a signed poster of a movie that I'm not in. And then I gave away a McCain Deep and Delicious cake.
Well, I mean, that's just smart.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it was a great example of me being like, oh, I sacrificed so much for my art, because I was kind of looking forward to eating it after the show was over. And then I was like, I guess, because they didn't choose the chapter with the poster. So I was like, well, I can't, I still want to give you a prize. So I gave away the cake. But yeah, so it was fun.
Were they happy about the cake?
They were so happy about the cake.
Just check that.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping that like maybe after the show they'd be like, oh, you gave me the cake, but like here you go. I don't need to
actually take this.
But anyway, it was very fun, and like,
very cool.
Yeah.
What? 9 years for this festival now. You were involved in the beginning.
Yes.
What's it like to see it now in its 9th year, in its current iteration?
Yeah, I mean, it's grown so much, particularly like from the professional development side. There's so much happening with that, and then also it really gives people so many options of like, the festival started off this year with readings, and then it moved into the plays, and so it's nice because if you have you start off with a reading of your play, and then maybe the next year you get to perform it, and it's nice to get that kind of development and have that type of development accessible to you, because right now with another play, I'm in that next stage of development. I have a play, Gold Star Girlfriend, which is a one-woman show, but it's a full-length show, and with that, I read it first in installments, and then I read it in its entirety, and then I, got into the Women's Work Festival, and I was able to work with a dramaturge and have another reading, and now it's going to be on stage with Persistence Theater's Year of the Arts Women's Play Festival. So it's really nice to have all these places for artistic development to, have this life with your play, because a lot of times you don't get to hear how your play sounds and hear how the audience reacts to it. Like, I'm very lucky that I've been able to have this life with this show where I'm like, okay, these are the laugh lines. This is when the audience cries, like this is to kind of feel it out, because, of course, particularly writing a one-person show is so insular. And so it's nice to see how people react to things. And
so if people want to check out your stuff,
yes.
What are the dates for what's coming up?
Yes, so for that play festival, the festival runs for I think 12 days, but I am going to be on September 24th. So you can see Gold Star Girlfriend that night. You can follow VV Productions NL on Instagram. That is where I produce all my shows. So for stand-up, I host a monthly stand-up show at Peter Easton every third Wednesday. If you want to come down to that's ladies' night, which is so great and fun. And Son of a Critch coming back. Gertie's coming back for season 4, so you'll be able to watch that winter 2025 when that comes out. So you can see me everywhere.
Yes, very true. Susan, thank you. Congrats on all of that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the chat.
Thank you.
All right, Susan Kelsey there. We're going to bring up, you know what, I want to talk about puppets. I've been wanting to talk about puppets through the whole hour. We're here live at the LSPU Hall for the Signal on a Friday edition of the Signal. We love being out and about into the community, especially if we've got someone like Jamie Skidmore to talk to. Jamie.
Hi, Adam.
Hi. You've got a green thing in your hands.
Yes, this is the cricket from the show Frankenpuppet.
Tell me about Frankenpuppet and the cricket.
So Frankenpuppet was written by Cole Haley, who you're speaking to in a bit, and we've collaborated a lot over the years on the festival. And I'll often give him a prompt, and the prompt was, could you take Frankenstein and Pinocchio and put them together? And he wrote a nice little piece.
That's a way better story, by the way.
It is. And then I was like, could the cricket have a German accent? So he rewrote the cricket with a German accent, gave him a few tunes, and so it's kind of a wild play. A mad German scientist brings the boy, we call him, to life, and so he's a hybrid of Pinocchio and Frankenstein, and then he goes on a murderous rampage.
I mean, of course he does.
Yes, so he decapitates the cricket, who ends up having to hold his own head in his hand to continue to narrate. He meets the fox and the cat, and he pulls off the fox's leg, and then kind of like Frankenstein's monster, where he's made up of different people's body parts, like the brain and the body. Our boy takes on different body parts of the different creatures that he encounters. So by the end, he's got like the leg of the fox, he's got a leg of the cricket, he's got the cricket's antennae, and he's wearing wings of the blue fairy. So he's quite the monster by the end.
Who's doing the voice work for the German?
So that's Luna Foote, and she's hilarious. Like the cricket is a very funny character. I won't tell you what tune we're singing, but Cole made an amazing choice, and it works really well with this green puppet who plays the ukulele during it. So the cricket, and so you can maybe guess at that what the song might be, and we're doing our last performances tomorrow, Saturday morning, here at the hall on the main stage at 10:30, 11, and 11:30.
What's the audience like for this?
So we opened it in